Welcome to the JTV News Caribbean News segment. The ruling Unity Labour Party, the ULP, led by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, retained its slim majority of 8 seats to the New Democratic Party NDP opposition's 7 in general elections held in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on December 9th. However, the ULP has called for a recount in the North Leeward and South Leeward constituencies, both of which were won by the NDP. The leader of the opposition, Arnheim Eustace, won his seat against the ULP candidate Luke Brown by fewer than 50 votes. Eustace said on local radio that many irregularities took place in his constituency of East Kingstown, including illegal voting and contradictory voters' lists to agents. Dr. Ralph Gonsalves called for national unity to address developmental challenges and to move forward. Another cruise ship's chain and anchor has done significant damage to a coral reef in Georgetown in the Cayman Islands. Don Foster's dive instructor Scott Prodal shot video of the Zenith cruise ship's chain and anchor on the reef. The video shows a large chain rolling over a once healthy reef. Cayman's 27 Joe Avery explains.
Chain was draped across that whole entire span of the reef, so the area that it covered was absolutely massive.
Don Foster's dive instructor Scott Prodell says he was surprised by the amount of damage caused by the MV Zenith's anchor and chain Tuesday.
The anchor was well within inside the reef, and then the chain was draped across the entire reef, constantly moving back and forth across the reef and causing a lot of damage as it did that.
This video, strikingly similar to the one taken in August 2014 after the Carnival Magic dropped anchor on another reef. Both locations are in close proximity to Don Foster's dive shop.
This was something that was done pretty much by the book.
DOE Deputy Director Scott Slaybaugh tells me the main difference between this incident and previous incidents involving cruise ship anchors and their chains is that this ship, the Zenith, was actually in the designated anchorage zone.
I would hate to use the term sacrificial, although that's probably pretty accurate.
Mr. Slaybaugh says his tracking software shows the Zenith fully inside the designated anchorage zone.
We would have a hard time saying that's an offense, although the law does state that any damage to coral reef is a violation of the law.
I understand that, a certain portion of the area has to be sacrificed in order to have what we have here, but at the same time, you understand that these reefs, they don't grow overnight.
Mr. Prodell says the damage caused in just one day could take thousands of years to recover.
It's a tough pill to swallow for sure.
Joe Avery, Cayman 27.
The Pan American Health Organization says universal health care is a must for the Caribbean region. Participants in a forum organized by the Pan American Health Organization and World Health Organization said investing the necessary public resources to achieve universal health is a social, political, and economic necessity that should no longer be delayed. PAHO Director Carissa Etienne said, "We are at the point where there is no dispute. There is an overwhelming consensus that this is the right thing to do. This generation will no longer tolerate a lack of access to health services to meet their health needs. Universal health is a right, not a privilege, and it's smart, like any good investment." Approximately 30% of the population in Latin America and the Caribbean lack access to health care for economic reasons, and 21% do not seek care because of geographical barriers, according to PAHO and WHO estimates. This is despite considerable progress toward expanding access to health care over the past 15 years. PAHO Director says the challenge for countries is to build collective political will and social consensus around the value of universal health as a public good. The St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association has teamed up with the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries to come up with a creative solution to a very serious problem, the lionfish. The lionfish have been wreaking havoc on regional marine life, but local chefs are fighting back by putting the species on their menus. DBS's Alex Bousquet explains.
A number of certificates and prizes were presented last week to participants who assisted with the Lionfish Derby held in Soufrière in September. The Derby, according to the CEO of the SLHDA, is very important to the association as an industry and to the island on the whole, recognizing over the past few years there has been a massive increase in the population of lionfish in local coastal waters. Reports from the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries indicate that the lionfish are depleting our waters of indigenous fish because of their voracious appetite and their resilience to other predators.
Over the past year or so, the Dive Association has been conducting a few of these derbies in an attempt to cull the population and in an attempt to hopefully reduce it dramatically. The feedback reaching us from the discussions last week is that this is having a significant impact. As a matter of fact, quite a few of the divers reported that the population of the lionfish in certain areas around the island seem to be growing smaller and smaller.
In an attempt to continue what is deemed to be the very successful exercise, on Saturday, December 12th, the SLHDA will collaborate with the Dive Association once again to have another lionfish derby, and this time with a different flair.
Usually the fish which are caught are sold to restaurants and various hotels which have them on their menus. But this year, this month, on Saturday, in addition to that, we will be doing some food preparation right there on site. And so we invite the general public to come on out and to sample a variety of lionfish dishes. We will be keeping the portion sizes manageable. It'll cost perhaps about five EC dollars a plate, and you'll get an opportunity to sample the lionfish prepared in a number of different ways by chefs in our national culinary team.
Local chefs will be on hand in Soufrière on Saturday to demonstrate how to clean and prepare the lionfish properly and how to incorporate it into a variety of cuisines. For the DBS News World, I am Alex Bousquet.
And the Guyana government has given the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry 2 more weeks to complete its report on findings related to the death of Guyanese historian and political activist Dr. Walter Rodney. Demerara Waves Online has quoted Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu as saying that an extension has been granted based on the request of one of the commissioners. A request for more time was also submitted by way of a petition from the Justice for Walter Rodney Committee that also asked for more witnesses to testify in the interest of having a proper probe conducted, closure, truth, and reconciliation. Justice of Walter Rodney Committee includes former and current members of the Working People's Alliance, the WPA, the party that was once led by Walter Rodney. The WPA has long held the view that Rodney was assassinated near the Georgetown prison on June 13, 1980, when a bomb in a walkie-talkie exploded. At the time of Rodney's death, he had been leading a civil rebellion against the then Forbes Burnham-led People's National Congress, the PNC administration. Rodney died during the height of his political activism. And coming up next on JTV News, Dr. Kedrick Pickering says the rising sea levels caused by climate change could wipe out beaches in 50 to 100 years. Digicel reveals plans to expand its services to include television and home internet service. Thousands flock to Christmas on De Castro Street for entertainment and Christmas shopping. And One Mart offers 12 days of Christmas giveaways.